what people may not understand about what it is to be a person who is famous in the context of being, the victim and an accessory to a crime.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the documentaries, whether I had participated or not, I prefer documentaries compared to dramatizations that, Hollywood created. And of course, like The Act. Yes, they had some things that, was factual, but there was a lot of also things that were fill-ins. So I get people that still to this day are like, I'm so sorry, you lost your hamsters. And I'm like, I never had hamsters. I had cats. But come to find out, Joey King is allergic, I think, to cats. So they had to substitute with hamsters. I'm not sure. But I was my first documentary was Erin Lee Carr's HBO Mommy Dead and Dearest. And that was already being filmed when I took my plea deal. So it was kind of like everybody had done their interview. My parents did their interview. It was already being made as I was going through my trial, or not trial, but court proceedings. All that was left was for me to speak. So on the day that I got sentenced, I gave my interview to that. And I never got to watch it until I was released, because we didn't have HBO in prison. So
have you watched it? Have you watched it now?
I have, and I cried. There was a part where I hugged my dad, and I'm like, Daddy, I don't want to go, because I was being sent to prison, and I was just like bawling. But watching that documentary, that's the documentary that started it all. Before any of these other ones, that one was the first one, and I became well known. But it wasn't until The Act came out that it threw me into this category that I don't particularly like the term celebrity, because I don't think of myself as that. Especially when you kind of trace back, what are you infamous for? I don't like that. It's uncomfortable for me. But it did spin me into a category of well-known in the public eye. And I was getting so many messages on my tablet in prison, hundreds and hundreds a day. And I feel like I became a character in a TV show. It was no longer, the documentary had a foundation where it was, okay, let's tell this girl's story. But then the TV show turned me into a TV character. And that was hard to be seen as someone like, so much about my life. I don't know you. You're a complete stranger, but you know everything about my life. And then I went on to do documentaries.
And can I just ask about The Act? Did the producers or the actors or anyone, did they consult with you? Were you involved in that project at all?
Not at all. Not at all. I was in no way attached to that project at all.
Yeah, and I that has been my understanding, and I will say, I don't think that's ethically sound from my perspective.
I don't think it is either.
And I've watched both. I watched the documentary made by Erin Lee Carr. She's a tremendously capable director.
Very much.
And that they interviewed Dr. Mark Feldman, who's a, close friend and colleague, and was really my entry point into talking to people in the professional sphere about this. So it felt very different to me. And, whenever I'm asked about your case, I sort of, if you're going to watch sort of one thing, sort of either watch the things that you participated in, because it did really feel as though, and I actually that was my first interview about publicly, because this was around the time that my novel came out that was based on my family situation. It was my first time talking about any of it publicly. And I did an interview with Vanity Fair about The Act and some of the other things, and was sort of talking about what I felt it got wrong about Munchausen by proxy. And also that I was very frustrated that Patricia Arquette, who plays your mom in the Act, was saying some things publicly about Munchausen by proxy that were very misleading. And, saying like, well, I just try to think about when I'm worried my kids are, and I was just like, oh no, this is not like that. You're giving people the wrong idea about what this is. And It just became clear to me watching the rollout of that. Oh, these people did not bother to, and I know almost all the main experts on this now. They didn't talk to any of those people. They didn't reach out to Mark Feldman. They didn't reach out to Bjork or Mary Sanders, or, they just did zero due diligence. And it's like, here, there is this moment of maximum visibility for this abuse. And again, it's not fair to make you a monolith for that, but nonetheless, here it is. It's on this big stage. They had this huge opportunity, because that was a huge hit for Hulu. That was the most popular show that had been on Hulu at the time. And I was like, they're doing press about this. Patricia Arquette's doing it. Joey King's doing it. The producers are doing it. they have this unprecedented opportunity to just say something real and smart about Munchausen by proxy, and they absolutely did not. And
missed the mark on that for sure.
Absolutely missed the mark. And then I also, when I found out that you were not involved, not compensated, that's not like, just to say to all of my true crime fellow creators, and we make decisions about, there have been instances where we have told details about someone's story and they weren't involved. That is one of the most difficult ethical dilemmas we have on the show. And the only reasons we've gone forward with it was because we felt like it was important to protect the children in that situation. And otherwise I wouldn't do it. And there was there's no such argument for the act, right? That was just taking the most sensational sort of version of that story, dramatizing it for entertainment purposes and money, right? And none of which went back to you, to any survivors. Like, there might have been a net benefit, again, just like from awareness about Munchausen by proxy existing, but like there was no intentionality from the creators of the act to do anything more with it than tell a story.
No, not at all. I will say that I want to say maybe it was 2 years later after the act was created. One of the producers, I don't remember which one because it has been some time, but he understood that I was done really wrong. And he did, again, this was not compensation for the show. It was his own money that he set in a trust fund for me because he acknowledged how wrong it was. And he told me, he's like, I can't speak on the logistics of it, but I can tell you this is from my heart. This is what I want to do. This is for you. And I told him, thank you so much. And that was that. So.